Good afternoon, everybody. This is Damon Bond of Bond Realty Group, licensed real estate broker in the states of Connecticut and New York. Hope everybody's doing well. Today is March 20th, 2018. It is Tuesday. They say that we're going to have another storm tomorrow. We'll see. I'm tired of this. I know it's southern New England, but I'm still tired of this weather. So hopefully spring will, spring is officially going to be here this week, but I hope it's will take place soon. All right, so everybody's doing well today. If you have any questions, please email me at dbond011@gmail.com. That is dbond011@gmail.com. Or you can always give me a call or text, 203-394-8123, 203-394-8123. We have some my cocoa over here. Okay, so today I would like to discuss heir property, or heir, like, you're heir to the throne, okay, or you are an heir to a vast estate, so heir, what that means. Now, first of all, you should always get legal counsel, legal advice, because I am not an attorney, nor am I offering any legal counsel, just a disclosure. I'm going to talk about the real estate aspects of it and why it's important, but certainly you want to get legal counsel because they vary from state to state. And if you're particularly in this area, Connecticut, New York area, you certainly want to, get some legal counsel for that. So I'm not going to talk to you about the do's and don'ts in terms of the legal aspect of it because that's beyond my knowledge. And, I'm not an attorney, so I'm not going to try to practice any law. But I will say this, and it's quite common, unfortunately. In many communities, but particularly in black communities, is common where you will have, let's say, Aunt Mary, okay, or Uncle Willie. And Aunt Mary and Uncle Willie pass away. And when they pass away, let's say they didn't have any kids, or they did have kids, but the kids are kind of trifling or out of the loop or whatever it may be. Where does this property go to? Who has rightful ownership of this property? That's why it's important to have an attorney do this. You can set all this up, Now, states do have succession laws, the way that works. So, for example, Willie marries Mary, all right? And let's say Willie bought the house, and it was in Willie's name, the mortgage and everything, which was very common, right? And it could be, the other way around, but it was very, very common back in the days. It's still, it's fairly common today where a lot of people, the house will be in their spouse's name, and it's not in their name. For whatever reason, that's done. But this is a very, very common phenomenon. But in the case, though, here in Connecticut, usually it's, ownership survivor, if you will. So typically the husband will pass first because on average men die before a woman. And the woman will survive. So, the woman, of course, who was the wife, the wife of the deceased, will still continue to live in the house. Now, usually, if the house is to be sold, and I dealt with this a couple of situations before, where the house is to be sold, usually it goes through probate. All right. And the probate basically is just the hearing to see to make sure that there's no other claims on the property. All right. Before the property is sold officially. So usually it goes through a probate hearing, if you will. Most of the time, I should say most of the time, excuse me. Many times it is just a mere formality. All right. Because no one's going to contest or anything like that. Many times, but it could be done. So that's what the probate is. So the probate will say, okay, well, yes, this house belongs to, we'll just say, Mary Jones, okay? Willie Jones was, the husband, he died. They were husband and wife. They had joint tenancy. And so Willie Jones died and the house is Mary, and Mary can, sell the property, whatever it can be. And like I said, usually is just a matter of formality. That's what probate is. So in order to avoid a probate, which you can actually have your house, weeded, deeded or something like that. So that way you can avoid any problems. And that's something that, a lot of people don't do. A lot of people don't think about, what happens when we're gone from this earth. We live, we have a tendency we're going to live forever. We don't, but you know what I'm saying. In fact, there was a wonderful Facebook post not too long ago saying, for those people who don't believe in faith, every night when you set your alarm clock, that's faith, because you have an expectation to wake up the next morning. And like I said, it's not Damon Bond saying, it's what I saw on Facebook, but I thought that was so true because we do that. We say, yeah, tomorrow I'll take care of this. When I don't get done today, I'll take care of tomorrow. And it's so true. We expected tomorrow to come, but tomorrow is not always, well, it's never, not always, it's never guaranteed to us. So a lot of times we need to think about these things in terms of life insurance. And I'm not giving life insurance advice, by the way. I'm just saying we need to think about these, situations, because it could become messy, and it could become, there could be some feuding going on between family members, and it can actually break families apart. Over this thing over here, this phenomenon over here. So these are some of the things we want to look out for. A lot of times when you see, power of attorney that someone has over an estate, that was done correctly usually, because that person, say once again, Uncle Willie and Aunt Mary had a house, they died, they're no longer with us, right? Sometimes the whoever, the relative, whatever it is, could be a niece or nephew, whoever it may be, okay, grandniece, grandnephew, whatever it is, brother, whatever it may be, will have power of attorney to sell a house. All right, so they own a house, but they're selling it. So in order to, and like I said, this is very pronounced in Black communities. So we need to certainly get our stuff together with that. Get an attorney, have them draw this up. You could do it in terms of a will. You can will the house if you want. So there's no confusion. You could trust it if you want. All right. If you, if you have a bunch of siblings, if you will, there's 4 of you. All right. These are some, pointed questions to talk about. Who's going to be responsible? Because usually, say you have, there's 4 siblings together. Let's say, all boys, all girls, we'll have a combination, but there's 4 of them, right? Usually, on average, the way it works is you're the responsible one. All right, you have the responsible one, but he's not really, messing with moms and dads too much or whatever it is, but he's there. Then you have the irresponsible one, and then you have the one who's there when it counts. And sometimes you see this, particularly this day and age, we have siblings, that live all over the country. And usually one sibling lives near the parents. All right, so if you get to a situation where that sibling is taking care of your older parents, what have you, that sibling might think, well, dang on it. This house, should be mine. When mom and dad pass, when they're dead and gone, this house should go me because I did it. Mike or Timmy or me or Jane, they didn't do anything. They weren't there, taking mom, to the doctor. They weren't there, taking dad to, his, surgeries and whatnot. So, this is important. So here, real estate is very, very important, because in order to develop wealth, this is something we need to focus on. So like I said before, go out there, get an attorney, sort this out. They give you legal counsel. That's what they get paid to do. They'll give you legal counsel. It's worth the money. It certainly is worth the money, because this is how you build up wealth. All right. One way to build up wealth, remember I said before, is through real estate. So one way to build up wealth is certainly through real estate. So like I said, in order to see, because I saw some stuff out there personally, within my own family, other people's family, I saw some stuff where you have nieces and nephews, squabbling, going to court. That takes time. Because let me tell you something, right? It's possible after, dear old, Willie and dear old, Mary are gone, you can sort it out. All right. Certainly you can sort out through the deeds and everything, go through the laws and whatnot. But why? But that takes time. So why take time after they're gone? Why spend time and money unnecessarily when you could do this thing beforehand? Sit down. So if you have, let's say, some aging, relatives out there, and let's say they have no siblings, or the siblings, are around, but they're in no condition to take care of anything or do anything, right? Have a conversation. Sit down with your family and have a family conversation to say, here's this, here's a house, we know that, they're not going to be around too long with it. Find out what you can do, and then that way you can determine how you're going to proceed. You can divide it up and you can equally, give each, person there is and whatnot. Because think about this, the pie is about so big. The question is how big the pie is, because you may have nieces, there may be nieces and nephews, cousins and whatnot who feel they should get that. All right. So yeah, some people feelings may get hurt, but that's okay though. This is what needs to be done. Usually finances is not, pretty. Now, here's the thing, and this is going to sound kind of morbid or oxymoron, but if you have a relative, let's say, unfortunately, I hope this doesn't happen to anybody. I know it's a possibility, but I'm not saying this. If you have a relative who is in the process of dying, like I said, that great grandmother and or whatnot, and you've been there for her, once again, uncle or aunt or whoever it may be, grand cousin, what it may be, and they're around. And they have all their scruples still, they're not senile, they're not dementia or Alzheimer's, right? But, they're in their last, month or week or whatever it may be. I know this sounds, terrible, but please bear with me. This is important. This is financial future. right? You have an opportunity to be like, get the finances in order, So you go to them and say, hey, listen, you got this house. Do you have a will? Who are you going to leave the house to? Do you have a trust set up? Do you have an attorney? Get these things done before they pass. There's an opportunity, all right? In the last days, last weeks, last months, whatever it is, this is the time to do your estate planning. This is when they can do it, all right? And you, because I've been talking about, poor old, dear old Uncle Willie and Aunt Mary, you out there. You can do the same thing. So this is something for you to think about. If you're older, all right, and you have a property and you don't have any apparent heirs to that property, it's a good idea for you to go and shop around for a lawyer, okay, and get this thing done. You can check out your laws. Well, here's the thing: don't even bother with the laws. I'm not saying like that, but because they're going to do what they want, and they'll city or whatever, or the state could take possession of the house. You don't want that. So, you need to think about how, when you go, because you're going to be forever, who's going to retain your property for the next generation, all right? So, if you feel, okay, this is my favorite nephew, all right? Or, and this is assuming that you don't have any kids, all right? Or your kids, don't have no interest, all right? Or my cousin, or heck, even my brother, my sister, my little brother and sister. This is something that I always like them. You can do stuff like that, and you sit down and you talk with them and you explain. If your relatives are mad at you, don't worry about it. You're gonna be dead anyway. So don't worry about that. Hopefully they'll say nice things at your funeral. And sorry if I'm just making light of it, because like I said, this is a topic that nobody wants to deal with. So I'm just trying to make it light. Because it is hard. We love our relatives. We want to keep them around for a long time. But realistically, it's a cycle of life. So that's why I'm doing this. But yeah, certainly this is what you want to do. So the bottom line is a couple things here. If you happen to be the person alive, older person, contact an attorney. Please get an attorney. Get someone that deals with real estate, estates, wills, anything like that. Right? Contracts. Get an attorney like that. If you're in a situation now where you have a dearly departed loved one, contact an attorney and sort it out. See what you can do. Any records you may have of any deeds or anything like that. They certainly can find a way to sort of all. This hopefully won't be messy. Like I said, eventually you can do this. I know someone. They had a relative. The sister passed on and whatnot, and then there was some problems because the father, tried to sell the land and whatnot, and the sister's fighting it. Her sister died unexpectedly out of the blue and whatnot. And they're fighting it and what have you, and they finally won, but it took a couple of years. I don't want you to be in that situation. So hope this is helpful in terms of heir, inheritance, for real estate. It's certainly something we could be vigilant. Think about if we did this. All our relatives who had properties, and they did this. Think about what, in terms of Black people, we could have a lot of real estate on hand. Then we'll just be getting lost through the cracks of times and things like that. So it's important to do that. So if you like this video, please like it. You can always email me at dbond011@gmail.com, dbond011@gmail.com. You can always give me a call, 203-394-8123, 203-394-8123. And if you live in the Connecticut, New York states, brace for the storm. Make sure, you got everything you need. Stay warm, stay safe, and be well. And I will certainly speak to all of you till next time. All right? Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.